point out that we kind of talked this earlier, how we are saying like the number itself really doesn't matter, which I agree with. But one thing I will notice is the older ones, and each series ends up kind of loosely kind of having their own tone or vibe. And I think that has to do with the fact that like each year or every other year, the community changes pretty quickly, especially the past few years. I feel like the community is very different than it was 4 or 5 years ago.
Oh yeah.
So there's kind of an interesting like archival or historic aspect of it.
Definitely.
Which I'm actually curious. So you were talking about how posts get deleted and stuff. Do you know? I believe there is, but do you know if there's like an archive where it has all the old deleted or like old copyright images that were taken off or things like that?
It largely depends. A lot of articles that get deleted are not archived, like in the newer series and stuff, because there's not really any need for them to stay. I mean, you could always use the Wayback Machine, I think, and you could go back and see the article before it was deleted. But really important articles, really ones that like from the old, like before the Wikidot was being used, like from Edit This, that were deleted, they sometimes get archived, and they'll be called like SCP 049-ARC, which means SCP 049 archived, and those can be accessed. There's another separate site, I think, separate from the foundations. Like it's like the old foundation or whatever it's called, and they have all the old archived articles before the huge rewrite that happened, and before people came in and change things if they got deleted. So I think that sometimes happens. It just depends.
And have you actually tried out yourself with the Wayback Machine to see if that actually works?
No, I haven't. I remember someone saying it, whether it was an SCPD maybe. I don't remember, but I remember someone saying that you could find it on the Wayback Machine. Maybe it was Dune? I don't remember. But yeah, you definitely can, I think.
That is something that I get a little, not concerned, but I think it's a shame to see like even bad articles get deleted into the web, especially if they're from the older series.
Oh yeah.
And then, I mean, this kind of opens up the topic of just anything internet related in general. If we're talking in like the span of like 100 years, it is very, very easy for like even the entire SP wiki to be like gone in 100 years because there's no like physical documentation going on.
Oh yeah. Well, actually, there's actually right now there's a project going on called Scuttle, and it is basically backing up the wiki. Like it's basically backing up all the articles ever posted on the wiki right now. So if there's ever, for whatever reason, Wikidot goes to crap, which it already is. Wikidot is a terrible platform.
Yeah, Project Foundation. Was it the Foundation project?
Everyone you talk to about Wikidot will always say that Wikidot sucks, and it does. Yeah. It's awful. Just for example, when you're using the edit box there's a chance that your article will just get deleted because there will be an error. Wikidot sometimes doesn't handle or traffic well. It doesn't really handle when you hit save on an article. Sometimes it doesn't. It loops itself. And your article won't actually save, and it'll just wipe everything. So there's a chance that you could write an entire draft, an entire article, and like if you're doing a Brights challenge, you're writing an entire article, and you hit save, it just won't save it, and it'll just delete everything. So that's why people will always say you need to save a lot.
Yeah.
So it doesn't like wipe the entirety of your draft. Anyways, that's another tangent. But yeah, there's a Scuttle project that's happening. It's backing up all the pages, and there's also a WikiJump. WikiJump is a project that's going on where they're basically trying to recreate Wikidot, but get rid of the problems Wikidot has and rid of the jank coding that it's on. And they're going and basically move the wiki, all the pages on the wiki, onto a new platform called WikiJump. So that's what they're wanting to do. I don't know when that's going to be done.
Isn't that
going to happen?
Wasn't that called the Foundation Project?
Project Foundation. It was. I think it was. You could say that. Yeah, not for sure. I think it was a bit different. I think Project Foundation was going to be
like its own website, right?
Like its entire own new infrastructure, new systems, and WikiJump is just basically a re-platformed Wikidot.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
So you could say they're the same thing. They achieve the same goal, which is getting the foundation, the wiki off the wiki.platform platform.
Yeah.
Because the wiki.platform platform hasn't been worked on by any actual wiki.admins or anything for years. For years, it hasn't been worked on, and the SCP staff, they've tried everything. Like they've even tried purchasing Wikidot from the founder. But
yes, I did hear about that. Yeah.
The founder just didn't, or the creator of Wikidot just didn't care. And the foundation, the wiki, is largely responsible for almost 90% of Wikidot's traffic.
Really? I didn't know that, actually.
They're like, I shouldn't say almost 90. I'm not really for sure, but a huge portion. I mean, there's Bruce Base. Bruce Base, I don't know, is a wiki site about Bruce Springsteen. That one, it sounds stupid, but it's an actual website that's actually like continuously updated.
That's very like 90s or early 2000s.
Oh no, like, it has thousands and thousands and thousands of words. It goes through Bruce Springsteen's concerts. It goes through his bibliography, and it's not even by Bruce Springsteen. It's like from like a series of fans.
Yeah, it's a fan site.
It's I'm trying to think of all the other. There's a few more Wikidot sites that are used, but the wiki is like a huge reason that it keeps getting so much traffic and internet attention. I think there were like.
What were you gonna say?
No, I was gonna say I just think there's like several thousand users. Not several thousand, of course. I'm gonna jump out there and say it was like 20,000. Signed on users, like registered users for the foundation, for like the wiki. I'm not for sure on that. It could be a little less, but they're like 20,000 or something, like users who have signed up to Wikidot or to the SCP wiki, who have applied for the site.
Like that's the accounts, like not like currently active on.
That's just
that'd be more actually. I'm kind of surprised.
Well,
but
I'm not for sure. I haven't checked it again. I mean, SCP-173, which is just a really bad article. I mean, it's good and that is a historical piece, but if you looking at it from a 2020 lens and looking at it, it's really bad. That one has like 6,000 or something upvotes. Like it's the single most upvoted thing on the wiki, which is not surprising. It's the most iconic thing. But anyways, that's another huge tangent. Going on a huge tangent today.
That's all what this podcast is all about.
Sweet.
I really hope I should look into the Project Scuttle stuff, because the thing I'm really concerned about is like, have you seen Blade Runner 2049?
No.
So
unfortunately not.
One like really small, this is not a spoiler, it's like a small plot point in 2049 is they reference how there was a great blackout. And basically what happened was the Earth was hit by a huge solar flare. And for people who don't know, solar flares are basically like a huge release of ionized radiation. And what that does is that'll destroy pretty much all processors, any like electronics that aren't protected by, I believe, a copper casing. So obviously, like the military, a lot of government stuff, they have special anti like solar flare like hardware so that it won't get wiped out by a solar flare, or as most other people know, an EMP. So basically, if a nuclear weapon goes off in the upper atmosphere, that will also destroy servers, computers, any like any digitized type stuff. So basically send us back to like the 50s. So
that also goes to like hospital. That also goes to like hospital
medical
emergency devices. It goes like people would die and like be dying in hospitals because their life support systems would just crash. It would just it's scary. Like,
heart
all
pumps,
the infrastructure,
just so much
stuff.
stuff.
Yeah.
But for me,
like pacemakers.
Yeah, pacemakers.
It's crazy.
But like for me, it's so simple and so easy just to like have paper copies. And like because we're such a global community, we could just like, hey, one staff member, can you just have like paper copies in Germany? I'll have mine in New York. You can have one in California. So that way,
archive them.
Yeah, so that way we have physical hardware or iDrives. I know what some people are doing is I think the Bill Gates Foundation, what they're trying to do is they're actually trying to inscribe it, or like not everything, but a lot of very culturally significant websites and things like that. They're trying to inscribe certain information onto quartz disk, I think. so that like I think they specifically pick quartz because it doesn't like age like stone or stuff. Like it ages very, very, very slowly. And then like also when you look back in history and stuff, most stuff that you find is either because it was written in stone or was written on leather or was written on like papyrus scrolls. So I'm just a little like concerned about how quickly we've digitized everything and how a lot of people just think that it'll be around when literally there are machines from the 70s and 80s that we don't have access to anymore because we don't know how to read those files. So there's actually a whole project that's going on where they're trying to figure out to basically rebuild the hardware so they can read those, like they're basically kind of like floppy disks or something like that. But you don't even have to go that far back. It's already happening. So
the only problem I see with that would be format screws and articles that rely heavily on cascading script. Like if you see the articles where you're going through and you're clicking and things are changing on the page as you read it, that would be really hard to replicate on paper, I think.
It'd be like a compromise essentially where it's like, hey, it's like explaining a joke. It's not gonna have the same effect.
Yeah, definitely.
But the way I see it is it could almost be like instructions so that if we get the tech and the computers back up and running, we can just recreate it to its original state. But anyway, doom and gloom aside, for the JamCon, do you want to talk about what you recently just wrote?